Hello traders, my name is Anna and I'm head coach at Leverage. Today we are going to go through analysis for the week ahead. We are going to look at the higher time frames and I'm going to try and break down the most traded pairs. So first of all, I want to wish you a very happy trading month. It is June now and new week, new month. I hope you all have set new goals and you are ready to start this month. So let's go first with higher time frame analysis. I just do want to remind you that if I do take any setups today, then please do not copy them. Always use your own setups to trade. Always use a proper risk management. So we're going to look at the higher time frame starting from daily, and then we are going to break down just to look for the areas market and interest to see where we could be trading. So the way I trade, I normally trade support and resistance, and basically that's what we're going to look at. So if you don't know what the support and resistance is, then support is where the price potentially can bounce, so that means going higher, or resistance is something like a ceiling where the price is bouncing against it, so there's resistance, means the price cannot push higher and it's always resisting from that level. So we're going to look at those levels and on the higher time frame. So I think I'm going to start with Euro USD because Euro USD is one of the traded pairs when it comes to Forex, so currency pairs. And let's start with daily time frame. So I think I've always said this to the traders, if you're a trader and if you are analyzing the chart, I think it's important to actually speak it out loud, even if you are, alone in a room or whatever you could be, like even when you whisper it, but once your words come out of your mouth, it is just so much easier to connect to your brain, and it's just like a simple exercise. I find that actually when you speak it out loud, then it's becoming more I would say real, right? So what you're saying, it's turning into life. So just simple like that, you can speak out and say what has been happening in the market. You can zoom in or zoom out as much as you want. So first of all, I do like to zoom out just to see the bigger picture. So now we're looking at the daily charts, right? So if I go back in here, that's 2022, right? And I can see that we have been consolidating, right? If you look at the bigger picture, if you zoom in, then you will see that we were bearish, consolidated, pushed bullish. And currently what's happening now in the market, what is interesting me is there a word interesting? What is interesting me is that basically the market is pushing higher, and this is our high, right? So what I like to do, I like to just put a line from here to see that that's where the high is, and my low point is going to be here. So this is the low point. Good morning, guys. Thank you so much for joining in. Hello, David. Hope you're doing good. I hope your month is starting great. So we're looking at the highs and the lows. So this is daily time frame, again, a high time frame. And now once I have the highs and the lows, right, then I can figure out where is the zone. So where's that support and resistance zone that I can see? So many are sometimes asking me Anna, what is your edge, the way you trade? And I would say that my edge actually comes from the way how I see those zones, how I see the support and resistance. So the way I read the price is the price came to this area, right, which is 1.10 500, right? Then pressed down, so there was a rejection, came here again to test this price, pushed down, and then we broke. And this was our first retest, right? So in here, this was resistance. It was broken, and now we're using it as a support. So the price is now going bullish. Now, where is the zone in here, right? There's not really a resistance zone in here unless we take something like this, right? So let's take this zone in here. So we can see that this could be our fake out, right? And this is our resistance where currently price is actually in. And sometimes to see if we can extend to the left, I would like to see when I zoom out, can I find a really good zone where the price has been before? And normally what I also would like to do is just set the line just to see that there was the interest in here. We have many, many wicks in here, right? And then I can go and try and connect it with here, and it doesn't really connect. So sometimes when you add those lines, it actually confuses you. So I think the less you have on the chart, the better it actually is. So these are like our daily zones. If you consider this as a fake out, right? So this is our low, there's a support area in here, and this is our resistance. So now let's go to 4 hours. So let's move lower to see how the 4 hours will react. So the same thing in 4 hours, right? So many of you are trading patterns, right? So this would be considered as head and shoulders. So this is one shoulder, head and shoulders. And normally, if you know how the patterns work when it comes to head and shoulders, is it does this. So creates a shoulder, a head, another shoulder. And then what happens when there's a break of that base, which actually happened in here, right? So there's that break of the base. It happened in here, right? Then normally what we can expect that the price will move same amount from the head to the bottom, which is 300 pips, will move lower. I don't think it moved 300 pips though. It moved 200, which was still good, right? So the pattern did work. But now we are again into this area, which is like a daily resistance. And you can also see that it does align with the 4-hour chart. There's also resistance in here. Now, if I remove, just remove this daily resistance, can I get clearer resistance on the 4 hours and just to see if we can, again, for the high, it's just like the highest point in here. There's no more price action, right? So we can't really put the zone in here because there's no price action unless we really zoom out and go to the left, which I don't want to do. So let's try and find a zone in here for the 4 hours where I'm losing my rectangle, right? Here it is. So again, really the same zone. It's just like you can clear it up more and just make it a little bit more smaller. Maybe try and include like wicks in there. Sometimes it's just like, it's going to be the same, pretty much the same as the daily. Because if you look at this, the daily zone is literally the same as 4 hours. I can just like make it a little bit, smaller, and then it becomes more clearer. But at the same time, no need really for that. So I would leave the daily zone in here. And now the potential, what I'm seeing in here is that we can either, start to push lower if we do get a rejection. And I do want to say this is what I did now. So I did sell EU because there was a setup based on my strategy and I was stopped out already. So I was thinking that it's going to sell because I saw the rejection on lower time frame, which is 15 minutes. However, the price just pushed higher and I was stopped out. So, but looking at this, we still have a potential to move lower. But then it's always 50-50 in trading. It's not like because I think, oh yeah, this is a nice resistance in here. Oh yes, the price is going to go lower. Like it's not like that. With the trading, we always have 50-50. So we need to make sure that we also think ahead. What can happen if this is not going to reject? What can happen is we can break out, come for a retest and move higher, right? Or sometimes the retest doesn't happen, but it's always keeping your bias at 50-50, right? So you can see bullish and you can see bearish. But now what you do as a trader, your job is actually to make sure that you have more confirmation on the one bias than another. So in my case, I think there is more potential for the price to push lower, right? And that's why I was also selling this. And just unfortunately, it didn't work out. So, but I would say we do have a really nice resistance zone in here. If we do break, there's a potential to fill this move in here. And if we do break even higher, then we can go for new highs. And the same thing in here. If we do start to see a lot of bearish momentum, then we can also expect that this support area, which is right now, right here, it could break as well and go lower. So that is my view for the Euro USD based on higher time frame analysis. Guys, I do want to say if you're a scalper, if you're an intraday trader, obviously you will most likely do your analysis on 15 minutes. You most likely will trade your entries on 5-minute charts or even 1 minute. I think there are some traders who are trading like even second charts for the seconds, but I think it just really depends how you are trading as a trader. For myself, I do like more of a higher time frame analysis, and I have said this a couple of times where the higher time frames tell you the more honest story. So it's like the lower you go, the more lies you get. So it's like gossip, right? Something happens, and then one friend says to another friend, well, this happened. Anna just hit her stop loss, right? And then another friend would be like, Anna hit stop loss and she lost half of her account. And then it moves to next friend, which is like lower and lower time frames, right? Let's think about it this way. And then it's like, oh, Anna just hit the stop loss and she completely lost all her capital, right? So that's how I look at the higher time frame. Is that's like the most honest story, and then the lower you go for the time frames, the less truth you get in there. So I really always like to use the higher time frame, and for myself, it's like 4 hour time frame to really set my trades. So that's how the EU is looking. We'll see if this resistance area will be supported, or we'll try and fill this fake out that happened before. Okay, the second traded pair. Let's go to GU. So GU and EU, they're both connected to the dollar, right? So in my trading plan, it always says if somehow I get buys on EU and sells on GU, or other way around, I will never go against them because they do move. They're connected to the dollar, and if one is bullish, then most likely another one is going to be bullish as well. And if sometimes, which happens more often now because the market is more volatile, I do get, EU setup. I take the first trade and it says sells, and then maybe like 5 minutes after, it's like buys on GU. So I will not take that buy. But again, this is my experience. This is from my trading experience. So if you do trade it, then when they go against each other, that's full respect to you. Right. So let's look at the daily chart. Do the same thing. You can find the high and the low, and currently you can see we're very close to approaching the high, the previous high. So I would put my lines in here. So this is our previous high. Then I'm going to take the low, which is actually this one, or obviously you can go for the lower range low, which would be this in here. When it comes to the zones, the first zone I'm looking at is just quickly want to see that you can see that the price moved really, really low, right, in September 2022, and then we pushed higher, and now we're slowly, recovering this bearish move. And the potential is that the price at some point could reach these highs in here, right? Which is very, very far away because we're looking at the daily chart, and that would be 685 pips, So normally the GU is moving about 80 pips nowadays. So, and some days are more, some days are less, but like it could really take us another 2 weeks, depending on how volatile the market is, if we do want to recover this move. So that's basically it. I put my highs, my lows, again another low in here. I'm not going to go there because it's just too far away, right? So now where do I see the zone, right? So where is that zone that I see? Now, first I look into this area, right, in the market, like so. And you can see that we pushed lower, came here, rejected, failed to move lower, right, and take this low, and now we broke it. And in here, this was our first retest. So this area in here was resistance because the price was trading below it. Now, what happened when we broke out of that resistance, we came to retest, and now anything that happens in here, this is going to be our support area, right? So I don't see really anything in, much in here. I think it really depends. Maybe like we need another 3 days to see if we will get some kind of, rejection, and we'll start to build resistance area in here if that's going to be the zone. But for now, I would like to remove that. So I have support, which this was resistance, and now this is support area. So I'm really interested to see what is going to happen. So when I now go to the lower time frame, which is still considered 4 hours, is still considered high time frame. And then I can see right? A little bit more. So I'm actually interested, in this area in here as well, right? So this was used as a support. We broke, retest, and go lower. So this is our first retest of this 4-hour resistance, right? So for me, what I am thinking that this actually could be the area. If it doesn't come to here, I would be like interested to actually sell from here. So like so, right? So we would be interested to sell in here, or if the price does push higher, then there would be a potential to sell from this area, from these previous highs in here. Obviously, this is for sales. Again, remember what I said, this is a 50-50. You always need to have two bias. And there's only two bias, right? Buys or sales. Or, someone will say the bias is like to stay out, but I kind of disagree with that. You can argue with me in here. I think we set the bias, it's either buys or the sales. So, and obviously another thing, if the price is pushing higher, and if we can take out these highs, because remember in here, all the way to here, we still have this move in here to recover when you look more left, right? So basically what can happen is if the price is starting to push, higher, then I'm also expecting that we could see this break of this area right here, retest, and then we move higher, right? So I do expect that if we fail to go lower here, there's a potential for the price to go higher. So it's just now depends on us, on our confirmations, the way you trade, the way you find the confirmation in the market to say that this is enough for you to say that the sellers are in control and the price is going to go lower, right? So this could be the first area. And again, this is the way I look at the market. If you think that the area of interest will be up in here, then that's completely fine. That's what I'm saying. I would be actually interested to sell in here, right? And see what's going to happen if the price is going to reject. I would actually put the risk in here. And same I would do in here. If I would get a rejection on this area, I would also be willing to sell in here. And then if the price does breaks, then it's my confirmation to buy. But currently I would not buy in here to try and fill this area because it's just not in my trading plan. So yeah, I'm waiting more for to see that resistance. However, if you read the how strong is the candle, what is the candles telling you? So as you can see, this is a very bullish candle. There's a lot of buying power in here. And if you measure into the pips, we are already moving 70 pips. And this is also a really important thing now. When you're doing your higher time frame analysis, when you start your week and you get to the charts and you are looking into these levels where you think those are my interest levels in the market, I think it's really important to also look at how the market is moving, especially now because we're in such a volatile time and the market is very, very much volatile. And this sometimes could be like a 3-day move, and now this is just happening within really hours because the price started to push from here. Yeah, just like last 4 hours, and we're moving really, really bullish. And when I look at it now, this would be actually my setup. I would be selling right here. That would be my short position. Put the above the highs and then target the low, like so. That would be my position. Again, guys, please do not copy my ideas. I'm just trying to give you like an analysis and get on those bias what can happen. So this is GU. So we did EU, GU. Let's go to the gold. Again, I have already like analyzed the gold before and just to see how the price is moving. And so far it's been really, really well. Like, I mean, the gold has been moving really well. The only thing when you drop to the 15 minutes, then gold is not really the way I would like to trade, because in my strategy, I don't like when the price is wicking so much, and the gold does wick a lot. So that's why I'm not trading it. But currently what's happening is that we do have, obviously, first of all, gold reached the all-time highs. Then we tried to push again and it failed, right? And then we tried to push again and it failed. And now looks like we are going for this high. Or what will happen, again, remember 50-50. So either we're going to push higher from here, right? So the gold is going to go for that new highs, or this is going to be this is first high, lower high, another lower high, and this could be our third lower high where the price will reject this, and potentially go all the way to here, which is in here. This was resistance area, was broken, first retest, and this would be our second retest in here. So currently I see, if I would go in 15 minutes and I would see bearish closure, I would be in sells. That's how I see it. I would be selling this right now and putting my stops above the previous high in here, and I would target the previous support, right? So that's how I would do it. The only thing, I don't like to trade gold because it does wick a lot. Many times it will happen where it wicks out, I get stopped out, and then it completely goes into my direction. So it's like, setting my bias is something that I can do looking at the market and setting the resistance and support zones. But when it comes to actually entering in, then figuring out how can I protect myself from these wicks is really, 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 really hard. So, okay, now on the 4 hours, this is what I'm seeing, right? So, you can see this actually. Remember the same thing for EU. If you look at this, if I put this to, this is our shoulder, head, shoulder, right? And then it traded again, and this was where the base was broken, right? But normally I would say what it has to do, it needs to, at least like in the books, right? When you will learn your patterns, then normally it says, so the length of your head, right, from the top to the bottom, should be what you should expect when this support line is broken, right? So if I measure, how many pips was this? Oh, this is gold. These are points, 21,000 points. I believe this is like 2,000 pips, right? So not even near that, right? Not even near. So this was really not the best pattern to work with in this case. But I mean, looking at the zones, and how this is going, I would definitely be interested to more sell, because you can see from the high, we try to approach it once, twice, and this is our third time, right? And so I mean, I would be interested to sell, although we do have this really big bullish push in here, but I still think would be interested to sell in here. So, and if we do break above, then there's a potential to go and even set the new highs, So I always have both bias. That's the case in here. This is the resistance area that I'm interested. And if the price goes lower from here, then it's good. I agree with that. I agree. It's like, who am I to say I agree or disagree with the market, right? Okay, so this is my look at the gold. I think we will move bearish first before we go bullish, because I also want to say that I do see the gold really strong and really bullish, because if you look at this is a really, really strong bullish momentum, and we just like stop in here to probably gain more, and because I am a pullback trader, I tend to trade pullbacks most of the time. So yeah, this is going to be interesting to see. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is completely out of my comfort zone, but you have asked, so I'm going to do it. Cryptocurrency. So let's start with the daily chart. Crypto is very, very, very volatile. Let me actually remove this. Crypto is very volatile, and you definitely need to have some knowledge about how crypto market is working before you really can day trade, because there's definitely more to that. It's definitely different dynamic than trading currency, for example, or trading metals, which is gold. It's definitely different, and we can move a lot. So like seeing these big pushes and like in the crypto, it's completely normal. So let me try and do like a higher time frame analysis on the crypto. So currently we are trading above 105,000 when it comes to Bitcoin, which is crazy, because when you think about it, there was times when Bitcoin was like 3,500, which is wild to think. So we are bullish, right? And currently what I do see, this area in here, right? So we can use it as as a resistance, right? And what you can see, what happened is this was a resistance, right? So the new highs were here. We came, took out the new high, and then rejected from it, right? Really, really nice rejection. And then eventually we did come to here, try to reject, and then we did make a new high. And now this was our resistance and it turned into support. But what has happened now that the support didn't hold, right? As we can see, the price has moved lower. So for me, I would be interested to see and find where is like another major support area. And all I can see is like this one in here, right here. So many wicks in here. These are all daily candles. Yeah, this would be something where I would be interesting to buy, right? So, but because I am kind of pullback trader, like, like I trade more pullbacks than I trade more momentum. But in my trading plan, I do have like a momentum trades as well, but most likely I always take like a pullback. So what I would actually expect for this is, because we have been so bullish, and we are like trading at the new time highs, I would want to see the price actually go bullish. And not because I'm a long-term investor, but it's just like, I think it's interesting to see what the Bitcoin was going to do anyway. So yeah, I would say definitely more bullish than bearish, right? So this is nice. There was a support, obviously support in here as well. And because how Bitcoin works, you can literally reach this in a day, because of the upswings and downswings it has. So, but I think we probably will shoot for like a new highs, and maybe create something like this, where we shoot for the highs, we create like a new resistance area, and then we break it, and then we come for a retest and trade, and move forward. So yeah, definitely more bullish. Would I be willing to sell from here? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think there's definitely more bullishness, but then again, like I said, we need to keep those 50-50 bias, where we need to make sure that we are, setting the bias. So this is support area. So if we do, let's say, break this, then we can try and trade this this range in here and see if the price can push, right? Or even go all the way to here, which would be my support interest area. Right, so here, right? So what has happened in here, we were trading resistance, right? This was our resistance. We broke with such a big bullish push that it never came to retest this area in here, and we just went higher, right? Made the highs, rejected, and this was our, like, we tried to retest in here, and this was the retest that we got in April, end of the April, and now we have been just bullish. So there could be recovery where we could go all the way down to here, right? And I think that's what also traders are waiting, because with the crypto, they have like a certain price. So at 72,000, I'm going to get into the market because there is a really, really good support level in here. Or let's say another area where they could wait, maybe could be, like this area in here. But like I said, trading cryptocurrency is definitely different than trading gold or the forex pairs. So, and as you can see, it takes time when you do your analysis, and especially like when you come in on the new month, new week. I think it's definitely important for us as traders to do our analysis and to make sure that we put the time in and we really speak it out loud and talk with what's happening in the market. And I think the most important thing, what you should do as a trader, and this is like, when I said you should do, I feel very, very confident when I say that, because I know it works. So always try to keep two buys and sells, and then look for confirmations to find that yes, actually the sellers look like they are more more in your favor, right? So there's more confirmations for the sales. And never just stick to one bias, because once you will just stick to one bias and you're like, no, this is like, imagine if I would just like be looking at, the market is going to go higher, like it's just sales. Most important, like most important thing is to always keep those two bias. But if you remove one, right? So this is like what's going to become, you will marry your bias. And I don't know if you have heard about it, but you marrying bias means just you're so focused on one side that you can't see any other side at all, and you just end up trading on one side, which is not good. Like, you should always have two bias. You should always look at where market can either go higher or can go lower. So yeah, that's why I think it's important to talk it out loud, to say it out loud, to listen to yourself when you're analyzing the market, and just really following what you're saying. And once you start to feel that you're more persuaded with one bias, then you need to make sure that you to look for other bias as well, like for the sells or buys, both of them. And obviously, once you start to find the confirmations, which is different, right? Because your confirmations can be, I don't know, like set in the either Fibonacci levels, or looking for some patterns, looking for certain price. I mean, there's so many ways how to find the confirmation in the market. So this is like, that's where your skill as a trader comes in. That's where your edge as a trader comes in, when you find those confirmations. But I think it's just really, really important to have those both bias set. So we did Euro USD, GBP USD, we looked at the gold, and we looked at the crypto. If there's any other pair that you would like me to not journal to go through, please let me know. But I think I just want to keep it like short and sweet. I don't want to stay here for too long, because I really just wanted to look through the pairs and just kind of give you overview how you can do your higher time frame analysis, and then just set your bias correctly where you have both sells and buys, and look for those support and resistance areas. I do understand, guys, that some of you don't do this at all, because we all trade differently. We're all different traders. We all see the market differently. Even when I say, like, this is my resistance area, I know some will have different resistance area, and that's absolutely fine, because I think we need to have that respect through between like one and another trader. Is just, we are all different. We see markets differently. You might be using some tools like indicators or AI analysis, right? So, and speaking about AI analysis, guys, please use our AI tools, which is accessible in your dashboard. So if you have an active simulation with Get Leveraged, then you will be able to access your AI tools. And AI tools, actually, they're really good built on the patterns. Like I don't know if I left it in here, like this on the 4-hour chart, there was head and shoulders, this one here. So AI tools are analyzing the chart patterns, and they are really, really good for you to set your bias, okay, or to look for the confirmation in the market. So yeah, saying that, I think that's me pretty much finished. Those are like the main pairs, two forex pairs, EU, GU, gold, and crypto. I feel like maybe we should do like an indice, right? US 30 or German 40. Let's do German 40. German 40 has been on the highs, and I have done this before, probably one of my previous live trading rooms. So we either waited for this, right? So this one here was resistance, and now this is a support. And I was expecting, if we respect the support, then we're going to move higher, which has actually happened. So we're very, very bullish. So basically, to set the bias, so where's our high? High is right here. This is our low, which is aligning with our support, right? So if I would want to see for the price to trade right here, okay? So we go to support, and we can see the rejection, and we can either go higher, like so, right? So reach support, reject, and go higher, or break support and go lower, right? And for the higher resistance, let's go to this is 4 hours. Don't really like to put this one, because this is like a double top. Okay, I would say I would take the resistance, from here, like that. That would be my resistance area. And if the price pushes to that resistance, right? So let's say from now, then we can wait for the price to go lower, or this is really messy. Or we can go higher, right? So always keeping both bias. So if we push down, then I would say we could see for rejection in here and use this support, or we can break this support and start to use this as a new resistance area, right? And somehow I do want to say this, what comes up must come down. So I think, if we do see some break of this support, then we could see quite a lot of bearishness, I guess, once the buyers lose the control, right? Because the buyers are clearly in the control in here. So yeah, that's it. This is great. This is good start of the week. Looks like we're going to have a lot of opportunities. I want to see what's going to happen with GU and the EU. I do want to remind you guys, please use proper risk management when you're trading. And always look for confirmation, always follow your plan. This is a new month, and if you have been struggling in your trading, then make a decision to make this month better than the last one, or to make this month where you say, this is my breakthrough month, I'm going to follow my rules. There's so many ways how you can really push yourself. Use the accountability, join the Discord community. It is either on your dashboard or on the website. Join the Leverage Discord, connect with the traders. Let's keep each other accountable, and let's make June better than the last month. And just to say, if the June doesn't go the way you wanted to, it's okay. We still will have July and August. But don't use this as like an excuse. Oh, it's okay if it goes, wrong. If you will start to break the rules for every single trade you take in the June, then it's not really fair for you to say, oh, it's okay, I'm just going to do better the next month. So be consistent. Make a decision to make this trading month good. Okay. So yeah, join community, trade with us. There is a lot of available on your dashboard. I'm also doing the webinars. If you don't know the programs, you can join either junior, senior, or executive portfolio manager webinar. Also becoming portfolio manager, where I cover all the programs. So yeah, we are trying to give you guys the best support, and I really want to see you succeed, and I really want to see more traders becoming more disciplined. So that's the goal for this month for myself, is to make sure that the more traders are becoming disciplined, and I'm here to help you with that. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. Analysis is done. Now we just need to see how it's going to unfold. So, and I will see you later on in this week. Thank you guys for joining in. Take care, use proper risk management, and I'll see you later on. Bye.